Watch Dogs is an open world game happening in Chicago in the current days. It's happening in 2014. It's about Aidan Pierce, a former hacker that had some information he shouldn't have stumbled on during one heist he did. And the mafia and the bad guys tried to hit on him, but basically they killed his niece, sorry. So basically you're playing Aidan and trying to get revenge on those guys, hacking the whole city, as he's a hacker, and Chicago is a very connected city, and trying to get to those guys and punish them for what they did. It was a very ongoing process. It was a very, I would say, organic process. We wanted to make an open world game in a city happening in current days. This was the basic of everything. Our creative director, Jonathan Morin, also wanted to have the city being part of the gameplay, not just being the background of it. So we started thinking, so how can we make the city being part of the gameplay? And we stumbled on the concept of smart cities that was promoted by IBMs and other big companies. And so we studied them and we came up, so how do we make use of this connected city? And hacking came very naturally into the mix. So we started studying extensively hacking, meeting people, hiring consultants, going to big conventions like DEF CON, trying to get hacking right, not only for the technical part, but also for the cultural part that has been so badly portrayed for so many years by Hollywood. So it was a very easy process, an ongoing process. It was not just like one single idea. And I think that's why we're so relevant today. We were just in the time of the days, and we're just studying what was happening in reality. It's really long to develop a game, and it's a big thing. You can turn really fast. So as Snowden or Anonymous or WikiLeaks were happening, or Heartbleed recently, every time those things happen, and the funny thing about Snowden, it happened 2 days before E3 2013. We were in LA, when my phone was buzzing everywhere because all my contacts were saying, this is huge, and you're gonna love this, and look at this, NSA is spying on everyone. But the way we handled that, we couldn't change the game, and there is nothing much we could do about that, because the game is not about the NSA. The game is about humans being surrounded by technology and the impact of technology in our daily lives. This is what Watch Dogs is about. But what it did to us, just like the first 2012 E3 was, energy and everything, E3 2013 with the Snowden events were like, we were right. We've put so much effort in being true to the hacking scene, to be cautious about not being sci-fi but being realistic. And fantasy is reality, and this is basically what it confirmed. We've tried to be very true to real life, and when it happened to us, it was just like, you did a really good job, guys. You're just right where you should be, and it was amazing. No, we're pretty happy. But the studies, everything we've been studying, and all the researches and the consultants we've met, we knew something was happening in the back. So it was just, in Montreal. So the only constraint we had regarding the hacks was they had to be feasible, they had to be real hacks. They had to be something that could be done in real life. And the other one was it has to have a physical effect. Otherwise it would be boring. Playing a game that would be only looking data going from one place to another would be extremely boring. So with the experience we have in Montreal and the necessity we had to have some realistic hacks, it allowed us to focus very precisely on the research and to develop the functionalities for the game. Now for the delay, it was not bugs. It was not the game was finished. We had everything we wanted into it. The thing is, Watch Dogs is a very systemic game. There are only systems interacting everywhere around you in the city. And we have many of those systems, more than any games I've ever played. The thing is, whatever you do on paper and whatever the experience you have, you can predict things. If A and B and C are interacting with each other, here are all the outcomes we can expect from that. But if you add D, E, F, G, H, you cannot do that. And as we were closing the game last summer, early last summer, springtime, and we were starting to have all the systems in place, we realized the output was not what we wanted. The game we were playing was not exactly the game we wanted because the systems were interacting in such ways that we were not pleased with. So we were very lucky that Ubisoft took this huge risk to allow us to get and we know we pissed a lot of fans, we pissed a lot of people by doing that, and Ubisoft was not happy. To tweak the game to have the experience we really wanted to have. Narratives in a game is basically the most expensive thing we can do because you have to have actors, you have to write it, you have to make cinematics, you have to have mocap, sound recordings. So it's very complicated to do the 3-act thing. However, we are a AAA game, so we have to provide what people are expecting. Just like gameplay, we thrive for gamer expression. You can play stealth, you can play hacking, you can pull out your gun and kill people in the face. And it was the same for designing the narratives and all the elements you have to do. So we decided to invest heavily on the main storyline. However, we were able to experiment a lot and use the systems and use Aiden as a vigilante, which is a very practical thing when you are in a city and want people to have fun. And so we went really deep into designing systemic design. So everything is happening randomly and you never experience the thing twice. And you get snippets of story based on a very single mission, but you can also have several chapters mission on the side, which start as a diversion, but basically you can look for other missions of the same type because there is something to discover there that's tied to the main narratives. So it was really about saying we want every gamer to have a good time in the game. The way they play, but the way they want the story to be told. Some players love to start the story and finish the story, like sitting around a bonfire at camping, and I love those too. Some others just like wandering around and having things happening. We've been trying to look for density instead of, size. We want things to happen as often as possible to entertain you while you're playing, and you'll learn many different things about the main narrative just going on the sides of it. Watch Dogs is going to be released the 27th of May on PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Wii U a little later this year, and PC version will be there too.